Hi, friends. Welcome to Week 7, Day 3 of Social Studies. We are still on Unit 4, Land of the Free, American Values and Principles. Last week, Week 6, you did Day 1 and Day 2. You answered supporting question 1, what are American values? And supporting question 2, how do American values affect our choices? This week, we will begin with Day 3, supporting question 3, are rules necessary for us to live by our American values? For Day 3, we are going to use source D and source E. You can find those on pages 3 and 4. I will show you what they look like in the next few slides. If you don't already have it in front of you, go ahead and press pause and take the time to look for your science packet. We are on page 4, and this is exactly what page 4 of your packet looks like. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with directions. Remember, today we will be reading 2 sources, and then at the end of this video, you will find the digital extension, The Importance of Rules video. Before we read source D, let's take a look at the bottom of the screen. This is supporting question number 3, and I want you to think about this question as I read. Are rules necessary for us to live by our American values? Let's start at the top. Source D. Why do we need rules? It may seem like there are a lot of rules, but rules are important. There are rules everywhere. There are rules at home. There are rules at school. There are rules at the park. Why do we need rules? Rules keep us safe. Without rules, children could run in the halls. That would not be safe. Someone might get hurt. Rules keep things fair. Without rules, a friend might not get a turn in a game. That would not be fair. Without rules, the world would not be safe or fair. Here is an example of what someone's house rules might look like. It says our family rules at the top of the picture. My favorite rule is where it says wash your hands. In the picture of the rules at school, we can see the Falcon 5, helping hands, caring hearts, inside voices, listening ears, and walking feet, all of which help to make us safer when we are at school. The last example shows us an example of rules at the parks and trails during social distancing. Okay, let's move on to our second article, source E. Again, take a look at the bottom. We are still thinking about the question, are rules necessary for us to live by our American values? Let's take a look at source E, school ditches rules and loses bullies. Ripping up the playground rulebook is having incredible effects on children at an Auckland is in New Zealand, at an Auckland school. Children are climbing trees, riding skateboards, and playing tag during playtime, but surprisingly, the students don't cause chaos, the principal says. The school is actually seeing a drop in bullying, serious injuries, and vandalism. Vandalism means destroying property, while kids are more focused during class. Principal Bruce McLaughlin got rid of school rules for recess as part of a successful experiment. We want kids to be safe and to look after them, but we end up protecting them too much when in fact, they should be able to fall over. Letting children test themselves on a scooter during playtime could make them more aware of the dangers when they learn to drive a car in high school, he said. When you look at our playground, it looks chaotic. From an adult's perspective, it looks like kids might get hurt, but they don't. Great job, first graders. Now that we've finished reading sources D and E, it's time for us to answer supporting question 3. Are rules necessary for us to live by our American values? Turn to pages 5 and 6 in your science packet. Pause the video to make sure you have these 2 pages in front of you. Okay, first graders, let's answer our supporting question. At the top of page 5, there's a chart. The first box has to question, what does this article say about rules? Circle 1. I put my circle around we need rules because in the article, why do we need rules? That's what they were talking about. Now let's move down to the second box with words. It says list 2 reasons the article gives for their opinion on rules. You can see my answers in blue. I remember from the first article that it said one reason that we need rules is to keep us safe. So I put that for number 1. For number 2, I put rules help us to be fair. Now that you've seen my example, it's time for you to fill out your first and second boxes. Remember, I didn't fill out my school ditches rules and loses bullies box. You're going to need to circle if we need rules or we don't need rules is what the article has to say about rules. Now we are on the third row, which has the fourth box with words. What American values supports this idea about rules? And then it says to circle 1. I circled the value equality. Now I'm at the bottom of page 5. It says 1. For the Why Do We Need Rules article, how does the American value you circled support their ideas about whether or not we need rules? Remember, I circled the value equality. That's why I have a yellow circle around that word. So when I answer, I'm going to use the same word that I circled. So I wrote, I think equality is supported by the Why Do We Need Rules article because, and then I have to give a reason for why I think that is the American value being supported. You are doing an amazing job. We are almost finished. Now we have to answer question number 2. For the school ditches rules and loses bullies article, how does the American value you circled support their ideas about whether or not we need rules? And then you're going to do the same thing I did in my example. You're going to write the word that matches the word that you circled. So then your sentence would say, I think, and you're going to write the word there that you circled, is supported by the Why Do We Need Rules article because, and then you have to give a reason. First graders, you have done a fantastic job and so much work to answer our supporting question for Unit 4. Number 3, are rules necessary for us to live by our American values? Remember, if you have any questions, you can always ask your teachers. Now, let's watch the extension video, The Importance of Rules.
Yes! I have 8,000 attack points, and you only have 5,000 defense points. So I am the winner!
Not so fast, Jeffrey, because my card is a Universe Master, and that beats a Cosmic King.
Universe Masters don't beat Cosmic Kings.
Let's look at the rules, shall we? This should settle things. Now let's see here. Ah, yes, here it is. The Universe Master defeats all cards except the Universe Terminator.
Told you so.
Oh, darn.
It's always best to check the rules when you can't agree on how exactly a game should be played. As a general principle, rules are very helpful whenever people have different ideas about how something should be done. Like in our homes, family rules tell us how much television time, if any, is allowed. And in our schools, rules tell us how many books we can borrow from the Learning Center. In our communities, traffic rules tell drivers when to stop and go, thus preventing auto accidents. Community rules are often called ordinances. Rules in our states, such as those that tell us how fast cars can go on highways, are called laws. The rules for our country are also called laws. We have 50 states in our country, each with many different kinds of people, and they don't always see eye to eye on what their law should be. For instance, they may differ in their views about how much smoke should be allowed from a factory smokestack. Because people in different states and different communities don't always agree about what their law should be, it's a good idea to have a main law to settle disagreements when there's a dispute about what a law should or does say. In the United States, our main law is called the Constitution. As it happens, I've been working on a computer program that can take us back more than 200 years, when the United States was a very young country and didn't have its Constitution, its main law.